Hello there. In this video I'm going to show you how you can make your own personalised earring using a range of different fonts, and also it's possible to use a range of different heart shapes as is shown here. And we can also change the size of the hole in the ring at the top. We're going to use the application Fluid Designer for 3D printing. The ring at the top is under 3D templates connectors. I'm going to use a 1.5mm diameter hole, assuming that you're going to put a hook eye through it, which is 1mm. If you want a larger size than that, that's no problem. You just select a different object from this folder. I'm going to show you how to add different fonts as well. We could add Blackadder fonts, for example. Whoops, if I just open the window up here. So we could use one of those fonts there, brush script, Harrington, Cedar calligraphy, a wide range of different fonts that you can use. I'm actually going to just stick with Harrington font, and I'm going to use this capital letter A. We're going to put all of these, I'm just clicking group library here to just refresh this file list. We're going to put all of these in a heart shape, and so I'm going to go to the folder Patterns, Hearts, and as you can see there's a range of different heart shapes that you can use. I'm going to use this one here, 15, but the principle is the same for all of them. So I'm going to drag and drop that object onto the workspace first of all. Now if we look at this object, it's a parametric smart object. And what that means is we can change the thickness to anything that we want just by changing the bevel depth, the bevel object over here. So at the moment that's 1mm there and 10mm deep. That's not going to be any good as an earring. We want pretty thin. We want 1 by 1 really if we're going to make it as an earring, because we want to keep the weight down. So that's where you can change the thickness of the object there, the heart. Now if I go to top view, I want to put a letter A in the middle of this, and I just showed you where it was. It's in Harrington fonts. Say we could use another letter of the alphabet, we could use a different font. I'm going to use Harrington font, capital letter A, and we do that by going to File and Append. Go up through the menu system until you find the Groups folder in Fluid Designer for 3D printing, and I want Patterns, Alphabet Harrington font. I want Harrington font, capital letter A, and we always append the object, so it's Harrington font A, append it from the library. Now when I'm just going to switch on screencast key, so any key presses I make should be displayed down here. When I rock that, you can see that the A is a different thickness. It's actually also 1 by 2, which was the original thickness of this heart. That's kind of our default setting. And another thing to consider is that this grid is actually 20mm by 20mm, so that gives you an idea of the size of this if you wanted to make it smaller or even larger. So I'm going to go to View and Top View now. I want to scale this letter A down in size a little bit, and I can do that by pressing the S key on the keyboard and just moving the mouse. I'll just move it in one place, I think. Now whenever you do that in Fluid Designer, because these are parametric smart objects, you must always do Control A and apply the scale, and watch when I do this, watch the thickness reset on the letter A. If you don't do that, your values over here will not correspond to the real values of the object. You must always do that. Now if I go to View and Top View, now I can reposition this A. You can have overlap if you want, or you could resize it smaller. Now I want to join these two objects together. Now if I've got the A highlighted, and if I hold down the Shift key and highlight the heart, when I go to Tools, Object Tools and join them together, notice the A takes on the thickness of the heart, which is what I want. Now you could leave it with this arrow overlapping the A here, but I'm actually going to show you how you can move it out. So if I press the Tab key on the keyboard to go into edit mode, and I'm going to highlight that control point there and hold down the shift key, and I need to highlight all the control points that make up this arrowhead, and I'm going to highlight that one there as well. And I'm just going to switch off the snap because I want control of this, accurate control, and I press G on the keyboard to grab those control points, and as you can see I can move my heart out, my arrowhead out, and you can position this wherever you want. So I'm going to position it there like that, so I've still got it overlapping. You do need to have things overlapping, otherwise objects will not 3D print, other than the fact that they will fall out of the middle, and you don't want that to happen. So I come out of edit mode there, and you know, you could change the position of things down here if you wanted to. I could press G to grab, and I could move that out of the way, for instance. So you can reposition things and overlap them or unlap them, whichever suits you. Until you're happy with the design that you want. I now need to add in a connector here, a ring at the top, and as I said, my default setting for earrings is 1.5mm internal diameter hole. If you want a bigger size than that, that's not a problem, you just choose a different object here. But we don't drag them in, we append them. So we go to File and Append, go up through the menu system until you get to the Groups folder. They are in the 3D Templates Connectors folder, and I want a wire connector with a 1.5mm diameter hole, and I append that from the library. And if I just zoom in by scrolling the center mouse button, I can pull that up and position it, and I could go to wireframe mode and just check where it is. That's okay, you want it in the middle there. And again, if I hold down the shift key now and highlight the heart and go to Tools, Object Tools and Join, the connector at the top there, the wire at the top, takes on the same 1x1 cross section as the heart shape. And that's essentially it now. The only thing that you need to do now is to export it as either an OBJ or an STL file. I tend to use OBJ. I tend to save it to the desktop, and this one is actually the personalised Harrington font heart hearing, and so you export that, and I did it earlier, and you must then always go to Netfab Basic and open it up in Netfab Basic and just run the repair procedure there, and you'll have your completed personalised hearing. So once you're in Netfab, just click Repair, and Automatic Repair, Execute, and apply the repair. And then just Part, Export it as a wavefront object. I exported it as a Harrington font hearing. And that's it basically. You can then upload that to Shapeways, or you can get us to personalise it for you. Best of luck.